Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, I want to take you on a journey. It's the story of a young woman named Amira, a story that begins in frustration and loneliness but ends in wisdom and gratitude. And through her experiences, we'll uncover a powerful truth. Every person who enters our life is a blessing, whether we see them as right or wrong, kind or unkind, helpful or challenging. So sit back, take a deep breath, and allow me to walk you through Amira's path. Peaceful routine. Amira was known for her gentle spirit. She wasn't the loudest in the room, nor the most confident, but she carried a quiet strength. At work, she was diligent and dependable. Her neighbors admired her kindness. She'd water their plants, bring groceries for the elderly couple next door, and smile at strangers in the park. Her weekends were simple. She loved sitting on a park bench with a book, listening to the wind in the trees, and sipping her favorite coffee. She often thought, if life continues like this, I'll be happy. And for a while it did. She had her best friend, Layla, always by her side. Layla was the kind of friend who answered the phone at midnight, who laughed at her bad jokes, and who reminded her of her worth on days she forgot. With Layla in her life, Amira felt safe. But life, as it always does, had other plans. The arrival of Daniel. One Monday morning, the office buzzed with news. A new colleague was joining their team. His name was Daniel. Daniel was the complete opposite of Amira. From the moment he walked in, you could feel his presence. He spoke with authority, laughed loudly, and carried himself as though the entire room revolved around him. Some admired his confidence. Others found it intimidating. Amira, however, found him exhausting. During meetings, he interrupted people. He nitpicked on details, and he always had a way of making others feel small. One afternoon, Amira gave a presentation she had worked on tirelessly. She poured hours into preparing every slide, practicing her delivery, making sure all data was accurate. But as soon as she finished, Daniel leaned back in his chair, smirked, and said loudly, "Good effort, Amira, but honestly, your delivery lacks energy. If you want clients to take you seriously, you'll need to work on that." The room went silent. A few colleagues shifted uncomfortably. Amira forced a polite smile, but inside her heart sank. The words replayed in her head for days. That night, lying in bed, she whispered, "Why does life put people like this in my path? What have I done to deserve this humiliation?" Leaning on Layla. Whenever Amira faced struggles, she leaned on Layla. Over coffee, she poured out her frustrations. "Layla, he's unbearable. Every time I speak, he finds a way to cut me down. I don't think I can handle this much longer." Layla listened patiently, then smiled gently. "Maybe he's here to teach you something. Sometimes the people we dislike most are the ones who shape us the most." Amira rolled her eyes. "Shape me? He's only making me miserable." Layla laughed. "Maybe misery is the first step. You'll see one day." Amira shook her head. At that moment, she couldn't see anything but the sting of Daniel's words, losing her anchor. Then came the day that changed everything. Layla sat across from her at their favorite cafe, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "I got the job," she exclaimed. "In London. I'll be moving next month." Amira froze. "London? As in, across the ocean?" Layla nodded. "It's a big opportunity. I couldn't say no." Amira forced a smile. "I'm happy for you." But inside her heart ached. That night, tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered, "First a difficult colleague, now losing my best friend. Why is life taking everything from me?" When Layla finally left, Amira felt a loneliness she had never known. Days at work were heavier, nights at home were emptier. She often reached for her phone to text Layla, only to remember the time difference or her friend's busy schedule. "I feel abandoned," she wrote in her journal. "Alone, forgotten." The stranger in the park. One chilly Saturday evening, unable to bear the silence of her apartment, Amira walked to the park. The benches were damp with dew, the autumn leaves crunching under her shoes. She sat down, wrapping her scarf tightly. Moments later, an old man with kind eyes sat beside her. He didn't look at her immediately, but after a pause, he said softly, "You seem troubled, young lady." Amira hesitated, then sighed. "It's been a difficult season." The man nodded knowingly. "Do you know, every person who enters our life is a blessing? Some come to bring us joy. Some come to challenge us. Some arrive only to remind us of our own strength. Even those who hurt us are part of our growth." Amira frowned. "A blessing? How can someone who constantly humiliates me be a blessing?" The man chuckled. Blessings don't always come wrapped in kindness. Sometimes they come wrapped in lessons, and lessons often sting. Before Amira could respond, the man stood slowly, tipped his hat, and walked away. She never even caught his name. Seeds of reflection. The old man's words echoed in her mind for days. Every person is a blessing, even those who hurt us. The next week at work, Daniel criticized her again. The old sting returned, but this time she paused and thought, is there something I can learn here? Instead of shrinking, she began to study how confident speakers presented. She watched videos online, practiced in front of her mirror, and recorded her voice to catch hesitations. Each night, she improved a little. Weeks later, she had another presentation, this time to an important client. Heart-pounding, she spoke with clarity, energy, and confidence. To her shock, the client praised her delivery. Even Daniel stayed silent, with nothing to criticize. That evening, she looked at herself in the mirror and whispered, if it weren't for Daniel's harshness, would I have pushed myself this far? Maybe. Maybe he isn't a curse after all. Loneliness as a teacher. But the challenge wasn't only Daniel. Without Layla, Amira often felt an ache in her chest. She missed the comfort of leaning on someone. At first, she saw it as punishment, but gradually she noticed something new. She was growing. She was learning to sit with her own company. She was making decisions on her own. She was comforting herself in ways she never had before, through journaling, prayer, and long evening walks. One night, after solving a work issue by herself, she wrote in her journal, Layla's leaving wasn't meant to hurt me. It was meant to show me that I can stand on my own 2 feet. Reflection. By the end of that year, Amira had changed. She was still kind, still soft-spoken, but no longer timid. She still loved deeply, but she no longer feared being alone. She thought back to the old man's words. Some come to bring joy, some come to challenge, some come to remind us of our strength. And for the first time, she began to see that maybe, just maybe, every person really was a blessing. Thank you all for being here. Reflecting on this past year, I've learned more than I ever expected about courage, resilience, and the unexpected blessings of hardship. To Amira, who now teaches us all about finding strength in our struggles and seeing blessings in disguise. Cheers. Honestly, Amira, I never expected I'd be taking pointers from someone like you, but here I am. Your journey's been impressive. I owe part of this to you, Daniel. Your challenges pushed me to grow in ways I never imagined. And of course to Layla, though far, your friendship keeps me going. As Amira strolled down the brightly lit street, she'd finally learned to find peace in her own company. Every thought echoed with the old man's wisdom, the world subtly reminding her of its beauty. The journey had not been in vain. It was filled with blessings and discovery. In part 1, we followed Amira through her struggles, meeting Daniel, the colleague who constantly criticized her, and losing her best friend, Layla, who moved abroad. We saw how those painful experiences slowly became unexpected blessings, shaping her into a stronger, more confident person. But her journey didn't stop there. Life still had more lessons to unfold, lessons that would transform not only how she saw others, but how she saw herself. A new chapter. The course one spring morning, Amira enrolled in a weekend course on communication and leadership. She wanted to continue growing to keep sharpening the confidence she had slowly built. The teacher, Miss Claire, walked into the classroom with a firm yet warm presence. She looked around at the students and said, "Let me be clear. In this space, don't expect comfort. Expect growth, and growth always comes with discomfort. If you're ready to face that, you'll leave this class transformed." Amira smiled faintly. Those words resonated with her. They sounded like an echo of her own life. During the course, Miss Claire gave tough assignments. She pushed the students to present without preparation, to handle criticism in front of everyone, to speak even when their voices shook. At first, Amira's hands trembled. Her voice cracked. But each time, she reminded herself, growth is uncomfortable. Lessons sting. And slowly, she began to enjoy the challenge. By the end of the course, Miss Claire said to her, "Amira, when you walked in here, you looked like a whisper. But now you speak like someone who knows her worth. Never forget this. Strength comes from struggle." Amira carried those words like a treasure. Facing Daniel again. Back at work, Daniel hadn't changed much. He was still sharp-tongued, still critical, still ready with a sarcastic remark. But Amira had changed. One afternoon, after she presented a proposal, Daniel leaned back and smirked. Not bad, but you still have a long way to go. The old Amira would have shrunk. But now she calmly replied, Thank you, Daniel. I'll keep improving. Feedback, even sharp feedback, helps me grow. Daniel blinked, caught off guard. He muttered something under his breath and looked away. For the first time, Amira realized Daniel was never truly her enemy. He was a mirror, reflecting her insecurities. His role wasn't to destroy her. It was to push her where she would never have gone on her own. That night, writing in her journal, she whispered to herself, he was a blessing all along, just disguised as a challenge, reframing Layla's departure. One rainy evening, Amira sat by her window, watching droplets slide down the glass. She thought of Layla again. At first, the thought brought pain. She missed the long talks, the shared laughter, the comfort of always having someone to lean on. But then she realized, if Layla had stayed, she might have remained dependent forever. Her departure forced Amira to discover her own strength. She opened her journal and wrote, Layla was a blessing too. She gave me love when I needed support. And when life wanted me to learn independence, she moved on. That was love in a different form. She wiped away a tear, but this time it wasn't from sadness. It was from gratitude. Everyday lessons from strangers. As Amira embraced this new perspective, she began to see life differently. Every interaction, no matter how small, carried meaning. The impatient customer at the grocery store who snapped at the cashier became a lesson in patience. Amira thought, if I respond with calm instead of irritation, I'm learning control. The kind neighbor who brought her soup when she was sick reminded her of the power of kindness. She thought, this too is a blessing, people who remind me of goodness. Even the random taxi driver who told her, life is short, don't waste it being angry, felt like a messenger sent to deliver wisdom at just the right time. Every person became a teacher. Every encounter became a classroom. The office transformation. Over time, her colleagues began to notice the change. The once quiet Amira now spoke with calm authority. She didn't shrink under criticism. She didn't crumble when challenges arose. During one big project, the team was under pressure. Daniel, frustrated, raised his voice, but Amira stayed composed, guiding the team through the chaos. When the project succeeded, even Daniel had to admit, Amira kept us steady. It wasn't praise she sought, but in that moment she realized something powerful. The very person who once broke her confidence had unknowingly built it back stronger than ever. The return to the park. Months later, on a warm spring evening, Amira returned to the same park bench where she had once met the old man. The trees were in bloom, filling the air with fragrance. She sat there quietly, remembering his words, "Every person who enters our life is a blessing." She waited, half hoping he might appear again. But he didn't. Instead, she closed her eyes and whispered, "You were right. Every person really is a blessing. I may not have understood it then, but I see it now. Thank you." She opened her eyes and smiled, feeling lighter than ever. Not because challenges had disappeared, but because she had learned to see blessings hidden inside them. Lessons shared with others. As months passed, Amira began sharing her experiences with others. A younger colleague once came to her, frustrated about a boss who was too demanding. Amira listened, then said, "I know it feels painful now, but ask yourself, what is this experience teaching you? Sometimes the people who challenge us the most are shaping us in ways we can't yet see." Her colleague looked surprised but thoughtful. For the first time, Amira realized she had become a messenger herself, passing on the same wisdom she had once received on a park bench. The ultimate realization. One evening, sitting with her journal, Amira wrote down everything she had learned. Some people come to love us. They are blessings of comfort. Some come to test us. They are blessings of strength. Some come to teach us lessons we never wanted but desperately needed. They are blessings of growth. Some come only for a season, but leave gifts that last a lifetime. They are blessings of memory. She put down her pen and whispered, "No one enters our life by accident. Every soul has a purpose." Closing reflection. And so, dear friends, Amira's story is not just hers, it is ours. Think about the people in your own life, the ones who love you, the ones who frustrate you, the ones who left you, even the ones who hurt you. What if all of them were blessings in disguise? What if every encounter was a divine arrangement, meant to shape you into who you are meant to be. The next time you face someone who challenges you, instead of asking, "Why me?" try asking, "What blessing is hidden here for me?" Because the truth is simple. Every person is a blessing, sometimes clear, sometimes hidden, but always essential to our growth.